the Gauntlet. Let's go.
If you smell what the Gauntlet is cooking.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Gauntlet here on the Sideline Sports Network. I am your host with the most, coming at you from coast to coast. I got my man Jay here. I got JJ. He's somewhere
in the dark.
There he is.
Well, you know me,
I'm back. And then also have Detroit Dom. So what's up? What's up, guys? How we doing?
Another Friday night, man. Let's get it in.
Dom, why you look like you're auditioning to be a part of a Crip game?
And the Gauntlet starts off with a bang with JJ taking some more shots.
Why? Because I have a blue hoodie on?
No, you just look like the guy that's trying to say, yeah, I'm with the set.
Oh, have you know I purchased this hoodie in
Boise State.
Why are you obsessed with Boise State? It's because they have a blue turf?
No,
yeah, I saw it. I couldn't get a picture.
I agree with him on that one. That blue turf was the first thing that was amazing because it looked like a sea of water. And
it is pretty unique.
It's funny because there are three.
Riz, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Actually, there are two D1 programs and a D2 that have colored turf. Boise State, EWU,
and
my alma mater, Eastern Michigan.
Which one?
Michigan.
Which one issue had
it's gray. You haven't seen it?
Which one had an issue with birds thinking it was the sea and kept flying down trying to come into it? So one of the fields had an issue with birds mistaking the field for like open water or something crazy.
It had to be Boise. I mean, there's blue, red, and gray.
And when I think of Boise, I think of LeGarrette Blount. Okay, I'll be honest with you.
I think of Kellen Moore and the Statue of Liberty play.
Eagles legend LeGarrette Blount, Super Bowl champ.
He won back-to-back with the Pats and the Eagles.
What was the name of the player? He wasn't it Derek Wolfe that he punched?
I think it was, yeah.
And imagine Derek Wolfe played for the Ravens.
Yikes! There's JJ sneaking in that Ravens reference.
Always has to sneak that in.
Always has to bring stuff to the Ravens, guys. But before we get into anything tonight, guys, I want to take a few minutes. Our guy, Eric Wilson, he's moving on. He's going he has a new opportunity. So unfortunately, he's not going to be able to work with us anymore. I just want to say a few words and thank him for everything that he's done for the Sideline Sports Network, everything he's done for me as a person. When we first got together, when this whole partnership kind of started, you know, Eric, him and I clashed a little bit, maybe not a lot, but a little bit at first. So it took a little bit of time for us to kind of start to understand each other a little bit, but we eventually found that, and I'm so thankful for the time with him. The biggest thing that I learned from Eric is how to really conduct myself as a top professional in this business. There's so many things that I learned from him in this business. Having the opportunity in Phoenix when we were covering the Super Bowl to be in those rooms with him, to see how he goes about his business. It was amazing to be around him and work with him with the time we were there. But the thing that I'm really the most thankful for when it comes to Eric is he pushed me a lot. Like he has his show that's really successful, and we have our show, and then we kind of had like a little competitive thing going on, and I think that he would say that I pushed him as much as he pushed me. But overall, man, so many great things Eric has done, and he's going to continue to do. And I know that the day will come, and we will see each other again. We'll cross paths again. It always happens in this business. But Eric, amazing. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. Thank you for everything that you've done for all of us here on the Gauntlet team, and of course, everyone with Sideline Sports.
Well, I'm shocked because I didn't even know, but he is a great individual, and I wanted to say, yeah, you guys Philly dudes, y'all shoot first, ask questions later. Y'all have to take the time to go duke it out before y'all really get along with each other. And that's really what I've seen with you guys, just a level of understanding. But yeah, Eric has been one of the few people that I can recall that I have always thoroughly enjoyed seeing him and talking to him and getting the chance to get to know the kind of man he is. I see a lot of we're very similar when we think about it, and some of the things that we have discussed and just how he conducts himself and, you know, the things that he talks about and the way he talks about him. So it's like, congratulations to him. Wishing him the best. And that's what, with him and that happening, I see that happening for pretty much any of you guys. And it's because that's what it's about. You know, you're building your brand, you're building the brand, and then eventually those opportunities are going to come. And never more happy for somebody like Eric.
The thing I'm thinking about mainly is not even somebody singular, but some buddies, all of us, because I'm pretty sure we've been on the show, and, you know, due to apparently contractual obligations, which I understand, Eric can't do sideline stuff anymore, which means we've all got to get together to keep the NFL carousel alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
With Eric, you know, it's he's an inspiration and a mentor, you know, to a lot of people on the network. And I caught one of his telecasts when he first got his new gig and everything. And, you know, he just fits right in. It's like, you know, that was waiting for him and everything. But meanwhile, he did amazing. And that's to say the least at Sideline Sports. He got Sports Arena off the ground, got it as one of the top shows and everything. We all were fortunate to be on that show and everything. The classic Eric versus Dom episode when we first got on, like,
John.
that was great. I was thinking about that the other day.
He came on here and he yelled at Dom about Lamar, and then he got off.
And then there was the takeover week when we took over Sideline Sports Show, and then they took over the Gauntlet, and then there was the whole storyline
video. He was like, James Tatum, you are banned from Sideline Sports, bro.
He also rocks Chuck Taylors with a suit, which is even bolder than like Jay's or Force's with a suit.
Well,
Jay told me a story before. He was.
I
can't remember where he was. He was somewhere covering something for Sideline, and he got a tip, and he said, "I literally started running in my suit and my Chuck Taylors down the street to wherever he was going, a hotel or something, trying to get an exclusive interview with somebody," and I'm pretty sure he got it.
Because that's the type of man he is. So Eric, great guy, great man. But we got to get the show started, guys, so we know what we start with every single week. A word from Tyler as we go into the Sports Morons of the Week.
Are you guys kidding me? Are you guys kidding me?
Are you guys kidding me? Okay. Man, it was hard for me to decide between Cam Newton and
that was
Ezekiel Elliott. But this week, I'm gonna have to go with Zeke. Zeke was released by the Cowboys, obviously, and there was all these reports yesterday, and like, you know, I was getting messages and people blowing up my phone. Oh, did you hear that? You know, Zeke is gonna sign with the Eagles and blah 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 blah. So the report said that there's 3 teams that Ezekiel would like to play for. One is the Philadelphia Eagles, the other is the Cincinnati Bengals, and the third is the New York Jets. So you have all these people. You have Zeke saying that he's going to announce his decision, or he's going to make his decision of where he wants to play, and he has narrowed it down to those are the 3 teams. I don't think he understands that you can't just say, oh, I narrowed it down to 3 people, bro. That's like I can say I narrowed the decision of what girls that I want to be with. I want to be with Rihanna.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I will make my decision next week, bro. No, the teams have to actually want you. And as far as I know, they kind of don't. So
wait.
But I thought it was
Cleveland, the Jets, and who?
The Eagles.
Okay.
You're gonna have to wait and see, bro.
But I thought it was based off of
who actually does
interest. But I thought he was basing it off of interest that was from these teams. Like y'all reached out.
He's saying that's where he wants to go, but no one is particularly doing everything to sign him. And they probably won't. They probably won't until after the draft. I don't think he will be signed until after the draft. That's my prediction. But Zeke is much more moron for just not understanding that, yeah, you can say that you want to go to these teams, but the teams have to actually want you, bro. So what decision are you talking about that you're making? There is no decision.
That's hinged upon Zeke Elliott still thinking he's that guy, and he clearly is far from that guy. I understand that, both him and LeBron come from Ohio, but he's not LeBron. LeBron can actually get
Zeke from Ohio.
You ain't making no decision, bro.
Yeah, like regardless of how people may have felt about LeBron's decision telecast, he's LeBron. At least he can do that. Zeke can't. Zeke hadn't been that guy in quite a little bit. So yeah, I agree. You can't sit there and say like, oh well, I'm gonna make my decision, because what if you go ahead and pick the Bengals and they're like, nah, we don't want you. Then you're going to try to pick the Eagles and then they really don't want you. And then you try to, and it's bad if the Jets don't want you.
Good comparison, but inaccurate.
Well,
born in Alton, Illinois,
running back. They have
went to high school in Missouri.
Breece Hall was one of the top rookies last season.
He would have won Rookie of the Year if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, he would have.
Garrett Wilson
I think I don't have an issue with his comments at all, because I hear this every time when you talk about a big-time free agent. They ask you, who do you want to play for? And I can say Zeke is a blocking running back, and that's essential in this league nowadays. So there is a need, whether people want to believe it or not, for teams to have him.
100%
Now, mind you, Eagles did get rid of Miles Sanders. Well, he lost Miles Sanders, from what I understand. The Bengals, they have Joe Mixon, but you want to have at least one or two running backs. Samaje Perine has now left. Now again, with Breece Hall,
Rashad Penny, and we brought back.
It makes sense. It makes sense with the Jets.
Penny, but if I'm being very honest with you, I'll take Zeke over Rashad, and I don't think Zeke is as bad as people make it out to be, because during the season,
we're not going to sign Zeke, bro.
Hold on, but during the season, many people were criticizing Dallas for not running Zeke and Pollard more. So you can't say that. And then when he hits the market, I think he'd be a great fit for every single team that he listed. I would be honest with you. I think if Philly decided to get him, I would be like, wow, that is a huge move, because he can still be a running back that can give you 800, 900 yards, and he blocks. So if you want to protect Jalen Hurts, he's not washed when you come to blocking, because that's essential for a running back to sustain life. He's
a running back. He's not an offensive lineman.
But he's a running back. But again, we are not in 2000s. Running backs are expected to block, right? Exactly. How many running backs get benched because they don't know how to block?
Especially in a pass-happy league.
All right, guys, we got to cut it. Does anyone else have a sports moron that they want to talk about?
I would say the NFL, and we're going to talk about it in a second, is this whole sending this memo about don't negotiate with anybody other than the play.
We'll get to
that. No, we are, but it's my moron.
We'll talk about that later, yeah.
But it's my moron. It is my moron. The NFL is my moron, because I'm thinking logically, if I'm trying to sign a player, why would you have to tell me not to engage with somebody like this? I know he talks for himself. I know,
because he's not an agent.
No, again, my point is I'm not going to think, oh, this person who, mind you, has came out and said they have no contact with this person in whatsoever in that capacity. If he's reaching out and say, hey, what do you think about Lamar? What would you want for him? If I know you're not directly related in his circle or his camp that people do know of, why would I need to even engage with you? So, and why would the NFL need to tell me? Because at the end of the day, that's kind of common sense to not pay attention
it's
to
collusion, and they're trying to stop him from getting that money.
Well, I don't know about that, which I'm pretty sure I'll be looking forward to hear you dabble into that and get more enlightened to that. But it's kind of moronic to send a memo to all these teams about this when you would have to sit here and think it's been profiled throughout the years that everybody knows who's in Lamar's camp, and this person clearly was not. So I think it was kind of a moronic move to sit here and send a memo out telling teams to not.
Real quick, I got one. It's Cam Newton. There's a lot more than 32 quarterbacks that are better than you. Even if you don't think there is, 32 GMs and head coaches they thought that. That's why you were in the unemployment line. But let's move on.
There was a report that said after that whole Auburn pro day, the NFL
after he tried to throw sand in the ocean and missed.
They were not impressed by Cam at that whole thing. And this is a problem with Cam. The problem with Cam is he never developed his skills as like a pocket passer. So once he lost like his athletic ability,
what have I been saying?
He just didn't have a lot to offer at the quarterback position. And
he has the same weaknesses.
In his mind, he still thinks he's like that guy, and he's not.
He has the same weaknesses that he did when he got drafted.
Look at a guy like Geno Smith. He got his opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the NFL again. But for years and years and years, he was brought into teams to be that mentor type of a guy. No team in the NFL wants Cam Newton to be their starting quarterback, but a lot of teams would want him to be that mentor, be that
No.
Yes, they would. They would, just like they did with Geno Smith.
You tell me right now. Tell me one thing you want Cam Newton to mentor your young quarterback on.
He's been a quarterback in the NFL for a long time. He's got a lot of experience. Look at these guys like Jalen Hurts, like Lamar Jackson. You don't think that they could benefit from being around a guy like him. But, Dom, that's not the point. That's not the point. Look at what Geno Smith did. He did exactly what I'm talking about. He was a mentor. He did his thing. He stayed in his lane. And look what happened. He got his opportunity. Cam, in his mind, he's a little bit delusional because he still thinks he's that type of guy. He's not.
To your point, though, I don't think Cam is going to be able to go through the days that he needs to become that mentor the way Geno did. And I will add, I think Cam is the perfect type of quarterback for today's league if he was in his prime when he first came out. He just came out as the league was transitioning to the type of offenses that he made his name in college off of. So I think if this was a guy that just came out from that 2011 Cam season or so like that into this NFL today, oh, heck yeah. I could see.
Yeah, I said that.
I could see
the other day. Time when he came out.
But yeah, guys. So we're gonna cut it here. We're gonna cut it here, and we're going to our player of the week is running back Willis McGahee, 2-time Pro Bowler. I'm not really. I mean, I really didn't get that hyped watching this guy play. I have to be honest. I think he was okay. I think he had a solid career, but when he was in Buffalo early in his career, I think that's when he was at his best. And his stint with the Ravens did not go very well. When he went to the Broncos, he had another season where he rushed.
No, it's not that. Just underutilized.
11 or 1,200 yards.
He was
there's not. I don't think there's just a lot to be said about this guy. To be honest.
Stop it,
Dom. Since this is your guy, I feel like Dom should shut you down.
Better career than you didn't have 2,000 yards, but
Willis McGahee.
Listen,
like, do you ever think that somebody was watching the NFL and was like, "Damn, bro, I gotta tune into this one"? Willis McGahee, yeah, like no one was doing that.
No, well, listen, look. First of all, if you want to get sick to your stomach, go watch that injury that he had in college. And I forgot that was the trifecta: ACL, MCL, PCL. Like he got hit, and his leg literally went like this, and he was crying on the field. It bummed me out because that was in an era. That was when Miami was still RBU. And had he not got hurt, and honestly, based upon what happened in that draft, even if he had got hurt, I was all about, I'm like, let's draft Willis McGahee number 2. Instead, we drafted hippie lettuce Charles Rogers. Rest in peace. This man, like,
which
came back from that injury.
Which wasn't a bad move.
It was a terrible move. That's why I was worried about Hutchinson, because stop with the homer picks. But Hutchinson's good. Anyways, real quick. By the end of his career, he put on a few pounds. Came into the league 6 foot and about 220, 225, which is prototypical running back size. Mm-hmm. And off that horrific injury, where'd it go? 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns as a rookie 1 year later. Then he went to Baltimore, 1,000 yards, Pro Bowl. Then at the age of 30, made another Pro Bowl in Denver. But, I mean, back then, almost anyone could get 1,000 yards. But career-wise, I'll take Willis McGahee over Chris Johnson. So imagine if he wasn't splitting carries in Baltimore for 2 out of those 3 years.
Jay, since I have him as a team, I'll let you go and I'll finish it off because I'll let you go ahead.
Oh no, I'll just go real quick. And Don pretty much hit it with the injury because I saw that game. That was the national title game against Ohio State, and that was a sick. But for him to come back from that, especially since years later, another hot prospect out of South Carolina, Marcus Lattimore, suffered the exact same injury, and he was never the same. Ever. He was never the same. You know, so from
ACL twice.
He suffered the same one, like all three. I think it's called the Unholy Trinity or something like that. But anyway, I mean, he was a solid back for his time that he was in. But I agree, he did have a better college career. Won a national title, Big East Offensive Player of the Year, consensus All-American, first team All Big East. But during his career, he was solid. Now, mind you, he was on the Bills. And at the time period, they were a bit except for the 04 Bills, they were halfway decent. But outside of that, I'm not going to really hold his time with the Bills against him. Oh yeah, JP to go. Baltimore, he's still there. And you know what? And JJ, we talked about this. The last game ever at Texas Stadium.
You took it from me, bro. But go ahead.
No. I'm gonna let you. All I'm gonna say is this. Him and LaRon McClain were a two-man punch. I'm not going to say that doesn't really get talked about. I think they were a very solid two-man punch. I'm not going to go based off that game, but I will say they ran all over the Cowboys that day. But no, just to finish it up, I mean, at his time period, he was never top 10, but he was a solid back that I think most teams would have on their squad. Go ahead, JJ.
Next time, I'm going to go ahead because I was sweetening it up, but you already mentioned Texas Stadium, and I was going to be my main talking point.
No, you go off on it. Go ahead.
No, because you already talked about it. I was going to sweeten it up and say, James, you talk to you directly, but you already mentioned it. It's okay. But I was like, next time I'm going to go because I was going to bring up the fact that I know my mom is watching and I know she's a huge Cowboy fan. But yes, he and LaRon McClain ended Texas Stadium in a way that they was not supposed to have happened. They were very upset about that. They didn't like it. I always go back to Madden because I think it was Madden 08 or 09 where I don't care. It could be all Madden, rookie, whatever. If you played a full season and you saw the Ravens, Willis McGahee was always leading the league in broken tackles on that season, on that Madden for some reason. He just was an unlimited breaking tackle person. And I remember playing Madden with him. I broke 10 tackles in one play. I did the Mike Allstott. I broke 10 tackles in one play with Willis McGahee. I think he was a good back, obviously a better college back because he is sometimes he's argued as the best running back.
He only had that one good year in college. His freshman year, he only played those 2 years. Freshman year, he had like 64 carries.
But they're argued that he had the highest potential to have the greatest running back career in Miami out of all the running backs they had at that time. And you think about who they had, Frank Gore.
The other thing I read, like after he got hurt, he took out a $2.5 million insurance policy on himself for that national title game. Then he declined it and declared for the draft.
Several NFL scouts had him as like a top 5.
At that point, he went to a Bills. He went to a Bills team that unfortunately was not very good. They were decent. They were below average, if best. Aside from him, they had that 1 year where Peerless Price broke out and he became a name for a couple seasons, along with in my opinion,
Eric Mold.
I was getting ready to say that's my guy for Player of the Week one day, is because I used to call him Acrobatic Eric because the catches he used to make were acrobatic out of this world. But long story short, Willis was great. I appreciated his time here. I didn't think he should have kept all the carries because what helped that year is the same year he got there, the same year Ray Rice was discovered. So those carries started to be split between them two. But those two were a very good 1-2 punch at running back for Baltimore. And it's a big reason why Flacco has got used to success so early on. He actually had an actual ground and pound attack between those two. And I think Willis McGahee, I wish we could have cashed in while he was there. I really do wish we could have cashed in while he was there. But, we didn't get the chance to because I thought 2010 was the best chance to cash in, but then we lost to our faithful rival in the second round. And so,
it's not out of the realm of thought that Willis McGahee was breaking tackles like that in Madden, because in real life he was 225, but he played like he was 240. So,
all right, guys, we gotta cut it. We got some more topics that we gotta go to, but enjoyed having this conversation about Willis McGahee here. Let's talk about the NFL draft. We had some pro days and stuff this week. We had C.J. Stroud with Ohio State. We had Bryce Young with Alabama, and Will Levis with Kentucky. They were showing clips of these. Listen, guys, if you watch the show, you know how I feel about the pro days. If you can play, you can play. I don't care what you're doing out here doing some drills, throwing against the air. Like, I don't care about that. I care about what you can do, what you can show on game film, and how it's going to translate to the next level. So my opinion of, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. I know these guys are good. They're going to be good quarterbacks in the NFL. We're going to have to see how they're coached, how they're developed, what type of situations they go to. I think that's going to determine a lot of their success. But, the pro days, it is what it is. So I think that these guys are going to do well either way.
CJ Stroud, and granted, yes, you don't put too much stock into pro days because these receivers are running uncontested, quarterbacks are throwing without pressure on them or anything like that. It's essentially still the first taste that people get out of that prospect. CJ Stroud joins a long line of Ohio State quarterbacks that seemingly just kind of like pushed the ball because they had Braxton Miller, and then they had JT Barrett, and then it moved on to Dwayne Haskins, and then now CJ Stroud. It's like seemingly there's that superstar quarterback at Ohio State that just does a whole lot better. The one thing that is working against CJ Stroud. Oh yeah, Justin Fields, absolutely. The one thing that is working against CJ Stroud is history. The history of Ohio State quarterback success in the NFL. Hopefully he can break that trend.
Wait, what history? There's none.
I said the history of Ohio State quarterbacks that
what the most
he's saying that historically they haven't had success, Dom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The history is none. No success.
Okay,
the best success any one of them had was Terrell Pryor having a 1,000-yard season at receiver for the Cleveland Browns.
I would jump in on that one real quick because I think he was in a bad situation as a quarterback back in Oakland, and I think he had a little bit of a chance to make it as a quarterback in Oakland if they wanted to buy into him. And I will say Justin Fields has a good chance to really turn the tide.
He does. He absolutely does. I know as of
he's a quarterback in Chicago. I mean, the bar is very low. It's less than 4,000 yards. Not that he'll ever pass for 4,000 yards.
A lot of good moves, bro.
Oh, yes. Everyone wins the Super Bowl in March, don't you know?
You would know, too.
The Panthers have been making moves
this year. I do know, but I forgot this year.
Panthers been making some solid moves, too. It sounds like they're building up for
they don't have a quarterback. They don't have a quarterback. They gave up the world for whoever, and also traded your best wide receiver.
They are putting in place better than what they had last year. Let's put it like that. But they are seemingly, because Bleacher Report 55.6% says they got them going to the Panthers. It remains to be seen.
I just saw something the other day. Josh, one of the McCown brothers on the coaching staff of Carolina.
Dom, last year you have DJ Moore, you have Christian McCaffrey. You trade Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers.
Right.
That was a good move.
You honestly look into the camera and tell me Adam Thielen, Miles Sanders better.
They got DJ Shark.
Moore, Christian McCaffrey.
I'm not saying that they're better, and even still, the game's got to be played and see how they do. I'm not sitting here saying they're going to go 11-6. All right,
that division is so trash. Every one of them teams is looking at each other like, "Hey, you going to win 8 games?"
And water is freaking wet. You preaching to the choir. We know it's terrible, but someone has to win that division. Someone has to win that division. And right now, let me ask you a question, Dom. Do you think the Buccaneers are better right now on paper? Honest question.
No, they're in the rebuild.
Do you think Atlanta's better on paper right now? You better say hell no.
I was going to say, you can't say they might be less terrible. Better implies they were good to start with, but that's just
I said better. I said better. B-E-T-T-A.
No.
Are they better?
No.
Okay. The only ones you're probably looking at is the Saints. And that remains to be seen because people ain't too high on Derek Carr.
I am.
I just want to say, I do believe. I just want to say,
I love Derek Carr.
To looking at this, the best prospect, in my opinion, is Will Anderson, not a quarterback. Will Anderson, the edge rusher. He's by far the best prospect, in my opinion. Because he has that next level ability. And if the mock drafts are true, and he's slated to go to Chicago, he replaces the Khalil Mack being traded and let a long time ago, or leaving for free agency. But I think Will Anderson is the best prospect. Now,
no way in hell he slips to not what's
now the
9
one I think
is Chicago's new pick.
The one that I think that is the most intriguing and that has possibly the highest upside, just given what we've seen from Lamar, Jalen Hurts, is Anthony Richardson. I think he has the highest upside for the sense of the matter is if he can fine-tune his skill set, he can become what is kind of being all the rave nowadays is a dual threat quarterback. He can run. He can make
speaks to what James said about Geno. Be a great mentor for Richardson.
Possibly that would be a good even with Pete Carroll in Seattle, with the way he runs his offense, that would be a great addition for them as well. But I also think he has the highest upside because I think when you have a guy that can throw as well as run equally, all you have to do is fine tune it. But if he fine tunes it, it keeps his percentage in the high 60s in terms of like his passing percentage, along with
good luck. He was barely in the 50s in college.
So was Lamar. Lamar's now in the 60s as well now. It's a possibility because you can't think guys grow.
Guys can develop.
Guys adapt. And so,
if he sits for 2 years, sure.
He may have this, but now we don't know that. For example, me and James.
If he goes to Seattle, he most likely is, Dom.
Me and James are testaments.
I don't like him going to
me and James team.
I do because that means we get Will Anderson.
Me and James are testament to show you our team's quarterbacks have the mental capability to continue to show people that they can get better no matter how many times people say they can't. Because Jalen Hurts had many questions as a 50%.
Jalen Hurts, yes. Your quarterback, no.
That's your personal opinion, and yes, he has.
He's not getting better. He got better. Now he's regressing.
You can't prove that he's regressing. For honestly,
as long as he doesn't come to Detroit, I don't care.
You can't prove he's regressing, and at the end of the day, you can't definitively say he has not improved.
Jared Goff is better thanLamar Jackson today.
No, hell no.
No, he's
not.
Oh,
hell no.
No, he's not.
Look at the numbers.
Now see.
No, he's not. Again, we have to sit here. Now, I got you, Jay, because me and Dom have had hour-long conversations after
several
shows.
He's your quarterback. You love him. I get it.
It's not about being my quarterback.
You're better off without him.
It's not about being my quarterback, and let me get it so I can let other people speak. It's not about me thinking he's my quarterback. I don't doubt anyone who has a work ethic, who has the drive to want to be better, because some of the players, Hall of Famers in this game, who were not talented, but they worked.
Quitting on your team 2 years in a row, that's drive.
What?
Cool guy.
What'd you say?
Quit on you. Twice.
On your team.
How did he quit if he was actually injured? You're just saying that based off of what you think. You don't know that. You're assuming because he sat out, it's because he did. Did you not see the report where he said inflammatory knee? His knee was inflamed. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty painful. That sounds pretty painful.
I know that hurt.
Even try to play. And at the end of the day, that's your opinion. He didn't quit on the team. And the big reason why people think he quit on the team is because they don't think he wants to play for the team. He didn't quit on the team.
No, he does. He wants to stay a Raven.
If you hurt, you hurt.
Y'all are too smart for that.
But as I said, the Ravens were 8-8 up until Lamar got there, and now this team has won over 8 games, at least 4 of the last 5 seasons that he's been the quarterback. You
are better with him.
Okay, we got to bring this back in. We got to bring this back in because JJ, I hear everything you're saying. But this started about Anthony Richardson, and then Dom started hitting on Lamar, and then it.
So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Anthony Richardson.
So get back to your point, which was about Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson is my most intriguing prospect because he has the highest upside.
Okay, so to wrap up this draft discussion, when you're looking at all these quarterbacks and stuff, everyone's wondering what is Carolina going to do when they're on the clock with the first pick. What do you guys think? Who is going number one?
Trade to
Stroud.
It's got to be Stroud.
Stroud.
If you gave up all that just to take Anthony Richardson, after all the praise that people have lauded on this,
I think it's
staff,
a better chance that it would be. I think it's between CJ and Bryce. I think it's going to be between.
I would agree.
If they drafted Richardson, I would be very surprised.
Either Stroud or Bryce is going to Carolina or Houston. It's all but a foregone conclusion.
I think whoever goes to that, I wouldn't even want Anthony Richardson there because when you get that first pick, unreasonable expectations come on you, and biases and polarizing opinions are formed.
Yeah. Remember, the Raiders tried to trade up to 1.
The only reason why
would have traded up to 1 to get Richardson because it's so Raiders.
The only reason why I don't like Richardson to Seattle is because I'm really pulling for Geno, and I know how fans can get. They're going to feed into the hype from Anthony Richardson's pro day, and the second Geno throws a pick, they're going to be yelling for Anthony to get in the game. I don't like him going to Seattle. I don't like it. I do not like him going to Seattle.
I think Seattle. I hear what you're saying, and I can totally see it, and I agree. But the good outweighs the bad.
Seattle is a much better situation for him to go to than somewhere like going number 1 to the Panthers because this young man is not ready. He really needs to develop from a mechanical standpoint, learn the ins and outs of playing the quarterback position in the
And like
NFL.
you said, Geno's a great mentor.
Geno is a great mentor. He goes to Seattle where they have him under contract for the next 3 years. So it's kind of understood that Geno is going to transition them into their next period. So seeing Anthony go with the 5th pick to Seattle, I think it will be a much better situation than he goes to Carolina with number 1 pick. And they're like, hey, you're the guy. And right now he's not ready to be the guy.
Or
he may not be ready to be the guy, but
or he drops to 6 and then some team further down gets a big boner for him and trades up.
But understand,
he goes to a different team that needs a quarterback, and he doesn't perform well, and then everyone's calling him a bust. What's the difference?
My take was less about Geno being a mentor. Because I'm sure he would be. It was less about going to a situation and more about fans and media feeding off of hype. You know what I mean? The second, and we've seen this happen before. The second he throws an interception, the second he has a bad game, they're going to be yelling for him to get in the game.
Yeah,
we have seen this before.
Generally, like the headlines, it's not a great look to draft a quarterback that high.
I only disagree. I only disagree because the Geno comeback hype train is just as big. It's just as big. Everybody's happy for Geno, and everybody's happy that he performed.
Cyril Smith.
And I do think
and his daddy and his granddaddy.
I understand throwing the pick where you think it's going to happen, but this isn't like Joe Flacco is throwing the pick for you or something. This is a guy that came in and helped.
There's that Ravens reference. Snuck it in again.
So I do think the hype train. I understand what you're talking about, but I think Geno has just as high as a hype train because everybody's rooting for him. Everybody is pulling for him.
But see, that's the thing, JJ. That's the thing. Geno is proven. He went all last season, comeback player of the year, right? Anthony Richardson is unproven. That's the difference. That's the difference right there. They're going to be yelling to throw an unproven dude in the middle of the fire.
Right,
and it's bad news.
I mean, their O-line's not bad. They've got good receivers, got a good running back.
All these guys are unproven in terms of the NFL.
And if 4 go in the top 4 or wherever, or 5, one of them is a 7+ year starter. One gets a second contract, mostly as a backup. The other 3 bust. 1 contract out the league. There's 20+ years of proof of that.
Or you could be like the 2016 draft where pretty much everyone sucks so bad that Dak ended up being the best of those guys. You have Wentz, Jared Goff, even though Jared Goff's actually not playing that poorly.
Oh, you mean Pro Bowler Jared Goff?
And you have Paxton Lynch. Everyone forgets Paxton Lynch went in first round of that draft. And Paxton Lynch is the only quarterback in history that has been benched in the NFL, the CFL, the XFL, and the USFL. That's history right there, bro.
That's fatal four-way.
I just came up with a question.
He was fully committed to being that crappy.
So I just came up with a question real quick. Would you? Because I don't know where this guy is anymore. Because I thought he was with the team, but I was trying to figure out what I have. If I was Anthony Richardson, if I was a team, would I want the Panthers to draft him? Or if I was the Raiders with Sean Payton, would I want to draft him and try to develop him with my offensive genius the way I was able to get Jameis Winston to change his course of the nature when he came to my team, and Teddy Bridgewater coming to my team and being able to sustain or something like that.
Sean Payton is with Denver, not
Denver.
Oh, Denver.
The Raiders got Josh McDaniels.
Teddy Bridgewater is soon to be a Lions backup.
I was in AFC. I was in AFC West. I would say the Broncos, because then you can have him sit behind a guy that if he does turn out to have a better season, which Russ could, he has a good 1 or 2 years to learn how to be an NFL quarterback or NFL pro quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good situation for him. I don't think
it's going to be interesting to see how this stuff plays out. We have like a month or so until the draft, so I'm sure things are going to change between now and then. With what teams
we talking all it is, and watch Will Levis be the best quarterback.
Yeah, we could just be arguing about all this. And then we were arguing about this, and then the Panthers are going to draft Will Levis from Kentucky,
and then he blows up.
Like,
right.
That'd be so NFL.
We're going to the coffee from a basketball school. That's why the Raiders were trying to trade up to 1 so they could draft Levis.
You're going to see Levis and Butthead signs in the stands. And that hype train smoking up.
Panthers fans are gonna.
He said
Panthers fans are gonna need to make.
Levis.
They're gonna have to call the hotline, man.
Zip line air.
A word on the air, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The hotline. You know when that hotline thing, that can only mean one thing. Okay, we gotta go, man. So JJ really wanted. Hold on. JJ really wanted to get into this whole Lamar situation.
Oh, here we go.
The Lamar saga is the biggest talk of the off season.
Listen, we can only go 7 minutes on this because we still got to talk about that Browns trade and we still got to get to non-sports. I'm trying to help you.
Let me get through the segment. Thank you. So when we talk about this Lamar situation, there's all these reports that are constantly coming out. I can't remember who it was. Was it James Palmer or Tom Pelissero that reported that there was some agent who was reportedly going to talk to these teams on Lamar's behalf, and Lamar pretty much responded to it and was like, this is a bunch of crap. Like, why are you guys continuing to put this stuff out? So Lamar is going to do his thing. It is what it is. What I would like to see Lamar do, I would like to see an interview of him talking to somebody and just clearing the air in his own way.
Explain
yourself. It doesn't have to be an interview, but I would like to hear like the real truth of what Lamar really feels is going on. And if he wants to keep it to himself, he can do that. But I think that it would help his situation if people knew really what was going on. I'd be interested to find out what's going on from Lamar's perspective. So that's just my opinion. So JJ, what do you want to say about everything that's going on over there?
I think with this recent report, I just go back to Richmond Webb's interview because I think it's 100% what's going on with this saga.
Yeah.
Too much information. I have been saying, and I think I've said this the last couple conversations I've had people. I'm not going to say what I know what's going to happen because I just don't know. I don't know, but I do know this. I do think it's kind of crazy that, and I think with Lamar, I think even in a way he's kind of amused at how ridiculous and how the lengths people will go to talk about and make up ideas about this situation. You know, he only responds on Twitter a lot of times. He diffuses what he wants to diffuse. But I think he's sitting back and like, man, they really are creating whatever they want to sit here and say this. And then, like the guy that they were talking about with this recent development, Ken Francis has a partnership with Lamar in regards to athletic equipment, gym equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't talk about anything other than that because he can't even get close to him. But I feel like the world wants to have so many ideas of what he does. Everyone says that they know what he's talking about. In my opinion, I'm thinking about, well, the whole Lamar situation, Mark Andrews, Marlon Humphrey, Pat Ricard, Ronnie Stanley have all sat here and said they don't know what's going on with Lamar. So if the people that are his closest friends at the game and the day-to-day operations on the team don't know what's going on, how do you think you do? How do you think you know what's going on? You don't. So if you don't know what's going on, all you're doing, and I tell Dom this all the time, that's my boy, he's my brother from another mother. Everyone is passing off what they think is going to happen based off their own personal opinion of the guy, as opposed to thinking rationally about what's happening. Number one, how is this any different from a couple years ago when Aaron Donald was threatening to hold out because he didn't hit an extension? But that was
because Aaron Donald had a real agent.
It don't
like
matter.
Everyone else in the NFL.
It doesn't matter. If that's the issue, it doesn't matter. There are other guys that don't have agents that still been signed. But I think I'm talking about the basis of he didn't like the deal that was being thrown at him. He waited all the way till almost the training camp before he signed. And so I'm looking at this. I will say this, and I was telling my coworker today, I said, I want Lamar to sign, and laugh in y'all faces thinking like y'all thought he was not going to sign. Y'all thought he's not going to stay with Baltimore. I want him to sign and say that so I can have my apology form and my post to say, all y'all come to my post right now and apologize for everything you said throughout this Lamar saga. And if you don't want to apologize, then I'll know that everything about that you said about that saga is just based off of your personal opinion and no logic. And that's really what I got to say about that. And if he signs, he signs. If he doesn't, he doesn't. We don't know. We will find out.
I'll go quick. Get a real agent. You're trying to. I mean, he's not trying to get the most money ever, but he's trying to get guaranteed money for 5 years. That's him showing all his cards like, oh, I need all this money guaranteed because I'm a mobile quarterback.
We don't know that for a fact.
That is finished. Hang on. Won't take long. I'm a mobile quarterback who has finished the last 2 years on the sideline because I'm injured. I'm not hating on him for wanting what he wants, but like get a real agent. And like I said, I thought about this earlier. Either the top flight agents don't want to represent him because they're like, what are you doing? We can't make this work. But is he that worried about the agent's cut? Like, why wouldn't you get? No one's going to take you seriously. The NFL came out with a memo like
wants to represent Lamar. That's ridiculous. He's one of the best players of the NFL.
Then why doesn't he have an agent? Is he that dumb to think he can? Him and his mom can negotiate an unprecedented amount of guaranteed money.
Dom, I have one question.
And then the NFL came out and said, "Don't talk to whoever this guy is. We will fine you. You can't even negotiate those contracts. We will null and void anything you work out." He's not the most intelligent guy. And I've said that since he was in college.
You need to get that hate out your heart, Dom.
It's not hate. He's not a smart dude, and now he's just proving me right again.
I have one question for Dom. You mean to tell me, because most sports agents are lawyers, correct? It's safe to say, because you do have to kind of learn and negotiate, go to law school. Most agents. You mean to tell me a lawyer who has spent hours on end with their depositions and their cases are afraid of a little work with a contract agent? That makes no sense.
You have to be an authorized agent through the NFLPA.
But that makes no sense to me. I don't think anybody's afraid of a hard
because
work.
This isn't the Wild West.
But you're telling me his contract demands are not outrageous to the point where he
wants $250 million guaranteed. He wants all his money guaranteed, and I get it. I get that he wants that money. I'm not mad about what he's asking for.
Outrageous compared to where the market is nowadays. And if an agent was really about that life and they want to make their name for themselves and they want to, you afraid of little work? No.
So then why didn't he hire a real one? An actual agent.
So what I have come to understand, especially just because I'm in an actual sports group where it's nothing but guys from Florida, Florida dudes have a different way of thinking when it comes to a lot of things in life. They are very much different, and they're very much onto, I got my back. I don't need nobody else. I can do this. So I do concede that this is why he's carrying it with that. They are just different down there. They are very different.
Okay, let's give Jay the last word because he's been pretty quiet because we've been yelling at each other the whole time. So go ahead, Jay.
Real quick, because we do have to move on. We still got the non-sport topic, but it's anybody's guess what's going to happen. I think that there's been a lot of rumors surrounding this, and the only one who can really quell them is the source, and that is Lamar Jackson himself. But we all know his intentions. He wants that big payday, and he's not going to stop until he gets it. Bottom line, we've talked before about what kind of contract he wants, and who basically claim they set the bar for it. And I don't know if it's something that
Cleveland and Arizona.
Yeah, thank you. But I think he has to go back and take a deep thought about this as to who out there would pay him that kind of money. By my count, it's zero. And so his best bet is to stay home with the Ravens and not take just anything they offer him. But, I mean, he's going to get his big payday. But it's not going to be $300 million guaranteed.
They'd probably give him $125 guaranteed. And, like, once you get into the hundreds of millions, does it really matter?
$125.
Do you really need $250 million guaranteed if they're like, here's 120, here's generational wealth, and you probably won't last through that contract.
But Dom, we don't actually
DMX told me stop being greedy.
We don't actually know that he wants 250 guaranteed. Everyone is saying that he does, but people have been saying so much crap about Lamar that isn't true.
Come set the record straight, Lamar, on Twitter, because that's what you like to do.
We don't know what's true, though. So we can't really assume it. So let's move to our last topic, guys, which is going to get spicy and a little bit mature.
You didn't
and
you didn't frame this properly.
Now hold on. Let's try to be mature and not
that was not
perverted or
the
anything
topic
when we're having this discussion. So
it was Dom's idea.
It was my idea. You framed it properly. This is what it turned into.
It's actually a good debate. My answer to this question: having sex on the first date. I'm gonna have to.
We cannot. This will never be a TV show. We cannot talk about this.
Hold on. Let James talk. Let James talk. Go ahead.
I am the sex philosopher from last week, and I said that sex is the word. Having bad sex is what leads to the ruined marriages and relationships. That was my TED talk from last week. So carrying over to this week, if I'm trying to date a person and get to know them, I know that like the sex is gonna come at some point. So first date, dating a person, getting to know them, it's different. This type of stuff where you're just looking to get some, that's what these random hookups are for. That's what Tinder and all that stuff is for. Just to hook up with somebody for like one night. That's what that's for. But if I'm dating somebody, I'm sure at some point like it's gonna lead up to that, but that's not what I'm focusing on. So for me, the answer is no. I'm not trying to go crazy and have sex on the first date.
Yeah, I've never been sold on that idea. The only one who would possibly do that is someone who ain't used to getting any, But that is, I think that's what more and more people have to realize is like, you have some men who do compartmentalize just like women do, And if someone is gonna give up the buns on the first date, then it's not necessarily wifey material. It's fun girl material. And you have some women who wonder why they get fun girled, and well, this is it. you know. So I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and say no. Typically, the ideal relationships develop from after you go out on a couple of dates and then you get to know each other and whatnot. And then, after maybe date 3 or 4, you kind of, one of you goes over to somebody's house. You cook a little dinner, have a little wine.
4 is the bar.
So yeah, but outside of that, like if it's like just number one or even a one night stand, then like yeah, it's not gonna. Don't be expected to be taken serious. I'm just a messenger. Go ahead, Dom.
Yeah, agreed. Well, here's the thing. It's and I don't even want to bring up them other things, but I will. It's like the women that say they're pro-life for themselves, but pro-choice for the world. That's where I'm at. I don't hate. I don't discriminate. Like, if you want to do that on the first date, bet. But like, chances are, that's going to be the first and the last date because a woman that I'm actually interested in, I'm hoping either A, she doesn't throw it at me, and B, like I'm not, like James said, like I'm not. That will, that situation will arise organically somewhere going forward, like Jay said, third date, fourth date, whatever. It's not an automatic disqualifier, but anytime a chick tries to throw it at me at the first date, I'm like, this is probably, and every time they're like, oh, I don't normally do this. Like, I think you're lying.
I'm actually surprised by your answer, Dom. I really thought you were going to say something wild, but Detroit Dom, date night Dom, he's actually a gentleman, ladies. So
I really am. I'm the nicest a-hole you'll ever meet.
Yeah. JJ, what you saying, big dog?
This is the second week in a row where I've seen 3 of the same reactions, and I'm a little different. Because you guys know me. I've done this throughout my 20s. Like, I'm just saying.
Say what?
Like, he said something Ajax won't take off.
If we're going to be candid, I'm very professional with it. We're going to be candid. The reason why I say that
JJ, we know you're a hoe, but make your point.
Proud. But, I can't believe I said that while my mother.
Me too.
That's okay.
But me too. That's why I've been single for so long.
So what I say is, and I had this conversation with my coworker today because I thought it'd be a good conversation. I think it's based off of the people themselves, because Dom said something that I think is like, okay, if you're throwing it at the person, it's cool. I understand that part, but I also understand a date going so well that attraction is just there. And then next thing you know, when you look up, you guys are in the bed or whatever. And I think if you're an adult, you just live with your decision. If you decide that you want to do it on the first night, you take the good and the bad that comes with it. If you don't, you take the good and the bad that comes with it. But I don't think it's necessarily a good or bad thing if you do it, because I do know there's a thing of test drive the car before you buy it. I do understand that. And I do want to take it a step further. I do want to
sample the milk before you make a down payment on the cow.
I do want to take a step further, because sex does play a role in today's world. Like, think about, you met the perfect woman. You guys had great dates. Everything's awesome. You're together. You're in a relationship. And the first time you have sex, it's bad. Like, absolutely bad. Like, it's almost to a point that human reaction is going to be a little bit different. They'll be thinking like, dang, I can't get fulfilled, because it is something that is fulfilling to us. And I think in today's society with sex, it's kind of been convoluted in terms of the definition, so to speak, because in my opinion, sex is meant to be a appreciation and attraction to that person. It's like reward for the connection that you have built with somebody. But you can't, and the thing about this world is connections happen instantly. There are people that have gotten married after meeting in the first night. And so it's like, not necessarily Britney Spears, but I'm talking about just friends of mine over the years. I think
we got to be off in 30 seconds, man.
Yeah, but I'll just say I'm indifferent of it. I think it's pretty it's up to those people. For me, I've learned that I won't always personally, I wouldn't always do it on the first night, but I knew that there's instances where I'm pretty sure my attraction will make me want to do it on the first night. But if I do it, I live with the consequences of both sides of that coin.
JJ, you a wild boy, man. That's why we love you. But that's all we got time for tonight, guys. We're gonna get out of here. Great show. And you guys can catch us here next Friday, talking everything that's going on in the NFL and some interesting. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week for non-sports topic, but I'm sure it's gonna be spicy. So be on the lookout, everybody. It was great. It's been real. See you guys next week.